Hey, I'm Devon. I'm here in the BA test kitchen to have a secret conversation about Chris Morocco. Once again, we're here to put Chris's super taster abilities to the test. This is Aarón Sánchez's Chiles Rellenos with vegetable picadillo. We're challenging Chris to recreate this dish with every ingredient in just one day. He'll be able to taste it, touch it, and smell it, but at no point will he be able to see this dish. At the end of the day, we'll come back to see his final creation, and I'll be the judge.
Interesting. Doesn't give me a lot. Oh my God. I got so nervous for a second. It felt like, like a lobster antenna. I have a feeling this is a poblano chili. It's been slit open and stuffed with something. It has kind of narrow shoulders, like a green bell pepper is gonna be massively flared out across the top, whereas a poblano chili is a little bit skinnier and a little bit longer and more tapered. Okay, so we've got some kind of zippy little sauce there that's got some heat to it. I think we've got some bad out of season corn. There's some cheese in there. Possibly cotija. Something kind of salty, tiny bit funky. It's very dispersed, this cheese. Everything is very fine. You've got these small little bits that are kind of chewy, bouncy. I think it's some kind of squeaky, sort of queso fresco. There seems to be some kind of aromatic group of ingredients around it. I'd say definitely onion. I'd say probably garlic as well. There are these little bits of things. Feels like it could be perhaps almond or walnut. It also could be a seed, not a nut. Wow. This is a sauce that has kind of at its heart a lot of rehydrated dried chilies. I feel like I'm getting kind of dried oregano. I think the name of this dish is some kind of version of chili relleno in mole. I could put a number of different names for it. Enrique Olvera, Rick Bayless, Aarón Sánchez. Cool. Anyway, I think this is going to be a fairly monumental challenge. This is pretty much my worst nightmare in terms of lots of things piled up and pureed and dumped all over each other. But onward we have to go. List time. So we're working chili first, and we're gonna say poblano chilies. For the stuffing, corn, maybe queso fresco, maybe cotija, maybe walnut, maybe almond, maybe onion. There is some kind of sauciness to it, but is that just, the kind of neutral oil and, the kind of juices that have come out of the corn and whatnot? Or is there something else going on in there? For the sauce, I have morita, pasilla, chili negra, Oaxacan chilies, ancho chilies, onion, garlic, oregano, coriander, cumin, unsweetened cocoa powder, almond, walnut. Yeah, I don't feel awesome about this one, but here's my list. We're gonna shop it, and then I'll have my first shot. I think maybe first things first, we can just start by getting some chilies blistering. I think I'm gonna do it on the stovetop. That's kind of the simplest approach. All of this char is translating the flavor, right? It's gonna give you this kind of light, smoked, concentrated intensity in the flavor. All right, so the chilies are going into this bowl where they're gonna steam out the rest of the way so that we can peel that kind of blistered skin off and just leave the flesh of the chili behind. We're gonna move on to the sauce. So I've got cast iron getting hot because I believe these chilies are gonna need to be toasted before getting rehydrated. I need to take the stems and seeds of these chilies, maybe 2 of these moritas, And then ancho chilies, I'm leaning on a little bit more of like the darker, more kind of brooding end of the spectrum. But ancho is great. It provides you with quite a bit of bulk and not a lot of heat. So these are going into a hot skillet, but just enough to kind of wake up the flavor a little bit. And then they're gonna go into a skillet with some water and they're gonna soak. I think like we want to maybe toast our nuts that we're gonna use in this. Next up is gonna be our cumin and our coriander, just gonna get a little toast, and then it's gonna get ground. Now it's time to really build to what in my mind is sort of the aromatic base of the sauce, which I think, we need to sweat out some onion and maybe sweat out some garlic as well. I want to put in maybe like half of these spices, plus our oregano. All right, so we've got aromatics going into the blender. It's also looking like real fucking thick in there. Like nuts are only gonna make it thicker still. There's no great way to say this. We're not looking so good here. It has a lot of chili flavor, but not necessarily a whole lot else going on. But I'm wondering if this is where the cocoa powder can come in and deepen things still further. So this is a sauce that does not really have much sweetness at all, at least that I can discern. Cocoa powder is gonna deepen it and kind of help bring out that bitter edge. I don't know that it improved anything. This is okay. For the filling, I need to grind up some of these almonds. Finely chopped onion, garlic. Cut the corn off the cobs here. That's the garlic and onion going in. Salt. It just doesn't feel like I have enough ingredients for the filling on the chili. So we've got queso fresco and cotija. So I was kind of getting this bit of texture in the filling. Could be cotija and not, kind of ground nut at all. I mean, it's nice, it's fine, I don't know if it's the dish. I'm gonna grab our chilies. And I'm just trying to open it up and also kind of get the seeds out of it. I felt like there was a pool of sauce and then there was a chili sitting in it. And that's what I'm trying to achieve here. So we need to fill the chili. You can't go too crazy. It's only gonna hold so much. I don't know. Here we go. Great. Everything feels wrong. This is version 1. I'm just not really certain about the flavors that are going on in the stuffing beyond the simple fact of there being corn and some kind of cheese in there. The sauce. Yeah, we're in the right universe, sure, but the right solar system, maybe not. Ingredients, I would give myself maybe a 65. I think this sauce could have easily 15 more things in it, and I might never even know. Technique, maybe a 70, just for the simple fact that it's a blistered chili in a sauce that got pureed at some point and that has some ingredients in it. Maybe this is the one area where I'd go bold and say 80% for appearance. Okay, and in terms of taste, I'm gonna have a go at it now. My sauce is on the fruitier end of things. That feels a little bit cold. I feel like the original sauce was just so much deeper and richer. For taste, I'll go with 70. 71 overall. That's not great. All right, so these are my actual scores on this piece of paper that I'm gonna look at now. Ooh. Ooh. I see, this is exactly what I thought might happen. All right, so actual score for ingredients is 39. Technique is 54. Appearance is 68. Taste is 35. That brings me to an average of 49. See? I told you it wasn't gonna be okay. I'd be curious to see if there's some other element that I just missed in its entirety. I feel like this is the worst, first half of any of these games I've played. I think so much is riding on the second tasting of the original dish. It's actually freaking me out a little bit. So it's we have the opening on top, some kind of nutty cheesy something. It's like very salty, very, you know, kind of pungent, sort of cheesy flavor. Yeah, I don't think it's like pepita. I think I might have just gotten like a little piece of cilantro. There's a lightness to the texture of this sauce, perhaps being like less chili forward than mine was. This one is kind of killing me a little bit. I gotta be totally honest. This mouthfeel, it's not quite the silky pillowiness of the sauce that I did. This sauce feels like the body is coming from something else. So we learned I'm like pretty far off with the sauce in terms of where I came in with my first version. We also learned that I don't know how exactly to make it better. And that's not a place you wanna be in the second tasting. I've like never sat down in this show, you know, just like get comfortable because we're not going anywhere for a fucking while. I've come up with 3 new ingredients despite the fact that I'm looking at a 60-point deficit. And that's not great.
What else could be in the sauce?
Things that are really dark that belong in a Mexican pantry. I'd be like, Chris, you need to like do a different show, man. My producers inform me that I need to start doing something and stop sitting on this apple crate. So to that end, like I need to start doing something. So I better go do that. So here is round 2. The poblano chili is, I think, good as it is. I still like the pasilla chili, but I think I'm gonna try a mix of like pasilla and guajillo and take out the morita and ancho. We're just looking to deepen the flavor of the almond and walnut, just not leave it quite so raw tasting here. We're just gonna add a little pile of sesame on there too. Sticking with onion and garlic, create a little aromatic base for this sauce. So we've got cumin, coriander. We're switching to Mexican oregano. I don't work with it that much. To me, it's like, it's a little brighter, like a little sharper. This time I'm gonna try rehydrating the chilies in with the aromatic base, along with some water. I might even say f it and throw some tomato paste in there. We're looking for something else. This is something else. I'm gonna use this to add body both to the sauce and to the corn mixture. Now we're gonna work on the filling. Corn's going in. Like a little bit of tomato. I'm just trying to think of something that you can add in on top of that veg that's gonna cook out to the barest kind of glimmer of sauce-like consistency. So we're getting our cheese and our corn mixture here. And then I need to get some cilantro in there. It's a different color. Certain things changed. I mean, a little bit, right? Okay, there is round 2. Maybe a little closer, probably not. In terms of ingredients, I'd say maybe I pulled my way up to like a 59. No, you know what? Let's just say like ingredient-wise, I'm at a 50. Technique, 75. Appearance, maybe I got a bit closer. Maybe we're at like an 80 now or something. Taste, like maybe if we could even get up to like a 60, that would be brilliant. Well, right or wrong, this is the dish I have to put in front of the judge. So obviously you hope a few things broke your way, you know, in the journey, but let's face it, maybe not. Hey, Devon.
Hello.
I think you saw my face earlier.
Yeah.
And what did you see in my face?
There was a little bit of dread, a longing for answers.
Yes, that's true.
Do you feel like today you were tasting with your heart or your head?
I don't think I was tasting with anything. I mean, I think I was like tasting with like my right elbow.
Got it,
you know?
got it. Do you have a guess at the name of who made the dish and the name of the dish?
I thought this was some kind of combination of like mole chile relleno or just reorder those a few different ways, you know, something like that.
Okay, Chris, may I present to you Aarón Sánchez's Chiles Rellenos with vegetable picadillo.
Vegetable picadillo. Already, like the picadillo, you know, just like the fact of the name is putting me in a certain like mind frame.
The mixture is a cilantro and cotija pesto, but it has pumpkin seeds in it.
It is pepitas. God.
There is basil in the pesto as well.
Yeah.
The pumpkin seeds get toasted, everything else gets thrown in the food processor and just blended together.
Is there black bean in that?
There is indeed a
GD
black
sauce.
bean moment
You
in
can
the sauce.
tell like just from the color, you know
Yeah.
how black beans take on, it's like almost like a purpley brown.
For sure.
Not being able to see that
Yeah.
and knowing that there was some thickness and richness coming from something that was plus a texture of sorts.
So all in all, I think that we should absolutely taste this. Are you ready to take the plunge?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Let's taste the original first,
Okay.
I think. There's like a texture in there. There's also so much fucking oregano in there.
Right.
Have you ever tasted that much dried oregano?
Definitely
in your
like
life? It's like
taking you to a place.
yeah. I don't know. I don't like perceive it on the palate as being like a product of like bean something. I still would like if I close my eyes, I'd be like, oh yeah, like there's some kind of like
Right.
thickening agent, but wouldn't put it on bean. Okay, going to mine. Listen, it's yeah. I didn't quite close the gap on this one. I think the hard part for me was like if I could have tasted that little like saucy pesto on its own, it would have been a completely different ballgame in terms of the filling. And I think my mind made me believe that this was mole, and it just totally is not.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I see where the roundness and earthiness, I see like where it maybe came up. I think that like just where its place is also, it's tricky, right? There's like 4, maybe 5 even like very major components. So I think it's just like where those things went. All right, so in ingredients, you gave yourself a 50.
Yeah.
I would probably say it's leaning more towards like a 49 for me. So technique, this is, I mean, kind of got there. There's a few things. I think that, the mole slowed you down. Originally, you had said 75. In this moment, I'm going to say a 60 for technique.
It's what we're looking at is pretty different here. I mean, that's more than fair.
For appearance, you gave yourself an 80. And you know what? I'm kind of into that. I'm gonna say a 79.
Okay.
Simply because of the mole misstep. For taste, I am going to have to say it's a 56 for me. For me. And this is mostly just like a proportion thing, like where smokiness was, where the lack of the folding in of the fresh herb and sauce into the picadillo at the end.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm actually gonna finish this. So really, we both win. I get to eat. You got to experience this moment.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for hanging out today.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. This is this was hard. This is a really hard one. I walk away, with a renewed sense of humility. I'm actually like walking away pretty happy from this. Like that cortado and like that like 20-minute sit down like crisis freak out really did a lot. Sometimes you have to take a minute and just take stock and like re-energize. And I'm not saying that like things like went that much better from there, but I came in with a dish. I got to the finish line. So I'm all right. Fair play to you, Aarón. Sorry, I like completely butchered your food.